Yes, good evening, friends. Welcome to the session once again. I hope you all are doing good. Today we are starting a new chapter, that is uh, environmental geography. Okay, till yesterday we have finished. Yesterday we have finished the soil under biogeography. Today we are starting a new chapter, that is environmental geography. Clear? As we wait for some more learners to join in, let me give some information from the Unacademy platform. That is, you have this resolution to crack this UPSC 2023. The offer ends today, that is 12th of January 2022. Okay. Initially it was 10% off and 3 months free extension. But with the use of educator code, you are able to avail for more discount. So a course which is worth somewhere around 78,999, which is there in your screen, you get by around 63,898. My educator code is SUNEP10. Okay, you can use my code to avail this particular discount, a discount of somewhere around 15,000. Okay, my educator code is, I have some problem with my touchpad here. That's why I will not be able to write today. So I'm just telling you verbally. My educator code is SUNEP, P for police, 10. Okay. Your prelims exam is there just around the corner. That is June, in the month of June 2022. So keeping that into consideration, in Unacademy platform, you have this comprehensive batch course on GS for UPSC starting from today. And if in your roadmap, if you are planning to sit for 2023, you can still go for Mission 2023 and Expedition 2023. Clear? These are the optional subjects which are getting launched in the Unacademy platform this month. PSIR, Economics, Sociology, History, Public Administration, Geography, Philosophy. So if any of this is one of your optional, you can always subscribe to it and take the advantage and the benefit of this. All of the faculty that you see in your screen, they are some of the top educators in the Unacademy platform. With that basic introduction, let us begin with our discussion today. Clear? Today we are starting a new chapter, that is environmental geography. Okay? First, we will try to see some basic understanding of this particular environment which is surrounding us. Okay, environment which is surrounding us. The chapter is environmental geography. Okay, so in order to understand the environmental geography, it is very, very important to understand our own surroundings. So what is the most important aspect of our surrounding? It is known as biosphere. Why? Because biosphere is one which gives the basic global system, or you can say biosphere is the basic global system with biotic and abiotic components together. Clear? Biotic and abiotic components together. Now, for the survival of any, you can say for the survival of any organisms, or you can say human being itself, or any organisms, we need biotic as well as abiotic component. Now the basic global unit, you can say, is biotic and abiotic component combined together to form this particular biosphere. So biosphere is the basic unit which can sustain life. I can also put it that way. Biotic, in a sense, the organic, I can say, organic component. And abiotic is the surrounding, inorganic, I can say, okay, in a very simple term. Clear? In the diagram or the picture which is in front of you, it gives a fair idea about the biosphere. On one side you have atmosphere, that is air which is required. Other is the earth, that is the land area which is known as the lithosphere. And the water, that is the hydrosphere. They all combine together to form this biosphere. Clear? This is one of the basic unit that we are going to discuss under our environmental geography. That's why we are just delineating the area or the delineating the base or just constructing the base over which we are going to discuss this environmental geography. Clear? Now, what is the meaning of this ecology? Ecology is the study of relation of different organisms or group of organisms to each other and to their surrounding. That is one of the simplest and the basic definition of what ecology is all about. Which means study of the relation of organism or group of organism. The exact meaning of what is this organism we are going to see in the next slide. But the important point is ecology is nothing but the study of this relationship of organisms or group of organisms to each other. Okay, one organism, another organism. Okay, there are multiple organisms on the earth surface. Therefore, the interrelationship or the interaction or the relationship of one organism with the other. At the same time, the organism exists where? Organism does not exist in vacuum. Organism exists on the earth's surface, has certain surrounding. The surrounding can be the land area. The surrounding can be the air. The surrounding can be the water. Therefore, ecology just simple two line, or you can say a single line, but it carries a very important meaning, which means ecology is interaction among the organism at the same time with the surrounding. That is known as ecology. So when we are dealing with ecology, we are going to see the relationship of organism in the form of food chain, food web. In food chain and food web, we will know the relationship of organism. That is one example I am giving. Otherwise, there are many relationships which we are going to see one by one, but parasitic relationship among organism. That is one example. If you are aware of this, well and good. If you are not, we will discuss later. Parasitic relationship is one organism benefit at the cost of the other. That is known as a parasitic relationship, and that is the relationship between organisms. Or it can be mutualism or symbiotic relationship, just like coral and coral polyps. Mutualism in essence, where both the organism benefit in the process of their interaction. Okay, that is known as mutualism. We have communalism. Okay, so there are different types of interaction among these organisms. So in ecology, what we do is we study all of this interaction among different organisms. At the same time, these organisms also interact with the surrounding. Okay, land area, air, water. So we study that interaction also. That is known as ecology. Okay. And all of this happens where? Within this biosphere. Because biosphere is a comprehensive idea. Okay. Biosphere is a comprehensive idea about land, air and water. So within this we study this ecology. Now ecology adopts a holistic approach in which the whole is greater in importance than the sum of its constituent part. That is the approach of this ecology. In ecology, we consider that the entire system as one unit or the entire system working as unit is more important than the individual sub-unit which are working. Ecology, we are going to see ecosystem, but let me tell you now itself. We study this ecological or environmental geography or the ecology in a systemic approach. Systemic approach means what is a system? A system has certain input and output. Now within the system itself there may be different types of system. Okay, and within one particular system there is a subsystem also, and the interaction of this subsystem, okay, results in the changes in the whole system as a whole. But the important point is, in ecology, we consider the whole system as one unit, giving it more importance compared to the individual constituent part. Clear? The matter can be organized in a nested hierarchy from a subatomic particle to the highest level, that is the universe itself. That is like this. You see here. Kindly, from the top, atom is written there. From the top to the bottom, where you have this biosphere, which is written here, you kindly flow. Let us flow from the top to the bottom. In the top, you have this atom. Okay. Further down, we can go subatomic, but just for the sake of, this is just a diagram in order to let you know the subject matter of this environmental geography. Okay. As I told you just now, we are trying to make a base over which we are going to study the environmental geography. Atoms combines together to form these molecules. Molecules combines together to form these macromolecules. They form cell tissues. Okay, they form organs. After organs, you have this organ system. After organ system, you have this organism. Means now the organism has come into being. Now from these organisms, next you have this population. Population is organism of the same type is known as population. Say for example, organism, let's say one organism, monkey. Okay, the population of the entire monkey can be known as or the collection of all the monkey can be known as a population. Similarly, human being. Now, this particular combination of different population will group together to form this community. Example, lions and zebras, they are different population. Okay, coming together. You can include human being also here. Why? Because you see here, as far as environment is concerned, no one is inferior, no one is superior. Everyone is equal. No special place for human being. Okay. So population combined together to form this community. Now this community, okay, community plus the environment. Basic definition of ecology, please go back. Please, basic definition of ecology. Interaction or relationship between different organisms and also with the surrounding. Now, all the organism require certain surrounding. Therefore, community of organism plus the surrounding environment results in ecosystem. Collection of different ecosystem results in the formation of this biosphere. Clear? The area of interest as far as our ecology is concerned is from the level of this individual organism. So in environmental geography, we are going to discuss from the organism level downward or upward. That is, population we are going to see community, we are going to see different ecosystem, and also we are going to see the biosphere as a whole. Is it clear? It is just a repetition of what I have just explained to you. Population is a group of organisms of one species occupying a defined area and usually isolated to some degree from other similar group, that is known as population. On the other hand, community is population of many species in a given habitat and interact through tropic and spatial relationship. Don't worry about the term tropics. We are going to discuss that later. Ecosystem, community of organism and their physical environment interacting as an ecological unit is known as ecosystem. Clear? Community plus the environment, that is nothing but the ecosystem. Different ecosystems are united together and form this biosphere. Now, there are two types of ecology. One is the shallow ecology and one is the deep ecology. Earlier, okay, the idea of ecology, the idea of the study of this ecology also as an idea or as a philosophy evolved over a period of time. Now, in the initial stages of the development of this idea, that is the ecology, it was more of this shallow ecology. Shallow ecology, in a sense, human centric. In a sense, human beings were put at the center in the study of this ecology. Which means, in the study of this ecology, that is the interaction of different organisms among themselves, and also the interaction of the organism with the surrounding, human beings were given certain kind of superior status. Means, the other organisms, the surrounding environment were seen from the perspective of human. Means human beings were given certain superior status, and everything is discussed or everything is analyzed. That is, different organisms, the surroundings were analyzed from the human perspective. That is, importance or beneficial to human being. Clear? That is known as a shallow ecology. But as more understanding came into being, and as the subject developed or the idea of ecology developed further, results in this deep ecology. What is this deep ecology? Deep ecology is nothing but it respects all forms of life equally. So now the superiority which was given to the human is no more. It respects all forms of life. Human being, ants, termites, okay, mosquitoes, bees, all have the same status, I can say. Okay, it is a crude example, but I can say like that. Which means, as far as the ecology or the environment is concerned, everybody plays a role. And all the role is important for the sustenance of the environment. It is not like the roles are divided into hierarchical based. All the roles are important for the sustenance of this environment. And that is how the ecology and environment works. So two important approach in ecology is the shallow ecology and deep ecology, in order to make the study of the natural environment simplistic and implementable. This vast domain, okay, see, till now we have seen the scope of this ecology. It is a very vast domain. Why? Because you are going to see all the interaction among different organisms, among themselves, with others, at the same time interaction with the physical surroundings or environment. So in order to understand this, okay, in a very simplistic and also implementable manner, that is limited to a smaller and manageable unit, but the important point is, but without losing the functional capability or the functional aspect of the working of ecology, the approach or the concept of this ecosystem was introduced in the study of this ecology. Remember, this point is very important. See, in order to make the subject comprehensible or in order to make it manageable so that we can study the ecology, the study of ecology, since it's a vast domain, has been reduced into smaller and manageable unit. But at the same time, while doing so, care should be taken into consideration that the basic functional characteristics of this smaller unit does not lose the functional characteristics of this ecosystem, ecology. Therefore, this is done by introducing a system approach in the study of ecology by the name of ecosystem concept. So, this ecosystem concept is the result of the application of this general system theory to ecological studies. Ecosystem is the simplest unit or entity that can sustain life. Okay? Ecosystem. They are capable of sustaining chemical elements and the flow of energy. Why? Because for sustenance of any life, or I can say for the sustenance of any organism, there needs to be certain flow of chemical in the environment or in the ecology. At the same time, flow of energy is there. Okay, don't worry about this. We are going to see what are the flow of chemical and what are the flow of chemical and the flow of energy itself. Okay, now important properties of ecosystem. Let us first see some important properties of this ecosystem. Number one, monastic nature. Number 2, structured form. Number 3, the functional entities. Number 4, the general system. These are some of the important properties of an ecosystem. What is this monastic nature? Monastic nature means, which is important characteristics or properties of this ecosystem, they stresses the unity of all parts and their interaction. Okay, of the ecosystem. This is one of the characteristics. Then comes the structured form. That is, due to clearly defined structure, it allows the links and pathways in flows of energy and matter to be traced and compared. Another important characteristics of or properties of ecosystem, structured form. Now, you may find a little bit difficult to understand this if you are studying for the first time, but don't worry. All of these important properties of ecosystem will be clarified when we will be talking different aspect of the ecosystem. Okay, functional entities and general system. That is, ecosystem is considered as an open system which tends towards a steady state. Okay, system approach. One is the closed system where there is no interaction of any energy or material to the system or from the system. That is known as a closed system. Open system is where there is an interaction with the surrounding of energy or material. That is known as an open system. So the ecosystem, we are considering it as an open system which tends towards a steady state. Tends towards a steady state is, you see here, if I have one system, if I make any changes to this system, a new normal will be developed where it will always tend towards a steady state or equilibrium state. That is known as tends towards a steady state. Clear? Now, the interaction in the ecosystem between different components happen in this manner. Kindly have a look at the diagram in front of you. This is how. It is not a very simple process, but we are going to unlock, or we are going to analyze each and every point one by one. Thereby, by the end of the session, we will be in a very comfortable position to understand the interaction within an ecosystem. This is how they interact. You see here, I have climate, fauna, that is the animal world, the soil, these are the surroundings or the environment. I have the vegetation, the plant community, and this is how they interact. Now there are only two lines which are absent here. What are two lines? From soil, arrow towards the climate, that is missing. From fauna, that is the animal or the animal kingdom, towards arrow mark towards the climate. Only these two lines are missing. All the other lines are present. That is, example, soil influences vegetation. Why? Because you see here, depending on different types of soil, which we have seen in the last class itself, okay, in some previous session, the soil determines different types of vegetation. Clear? So there is a arrow mark between soil and vegetation. On the other hand, you see, vegetation is also influencing the soil, represented by the arrow mark which is going from vegetation towards the soil. Now you tell me how this vegetation is influencing the soil. See, in our soil forming processes we have seen the humus content. Now whenever there is any type of vegetation, it gives, or it is the source of organic content or organic material, the vegetation. Now this vegetation supplies organic matter in the form of leaf or XYZ. This particular organic matter undergoes certain kind of decay and decomposition, finally resulting in the formation of a humus. And this humus becomes a part of a soil. So we have seen 2-3 processes in the soil forming. Podzolization a vegetation which is coniferous forest, say for example, they provide certain kind of organic matter. Now this organic matter will be different from the vegetation which is there in the tropical or in the deciduous, broadleaf deciduous forest. Therefore, a soil which is formed in a coniferous forest, soil which is formed in the tropical region will be different. And that is how a vegetation is influencing a type of soil which is formed. Okay. Similarly, vegetation impacts climate. At the same time, climate also impacts the vegetation. How vegetation impacts the climate? You tell me. If there is a huge vegetation, natural vegetation, like say for example plants, I will give you, let me give you one example. Two regions nearby in the same latitude, having the same and the physiography, or you can say the relief or the landform is similar, completely absolutely similar, temperature is, the sun insolation is exactly the similar, but a place where you have vegetation and a place where you have a barren land where you don't have any vegetation, the climatic conditions will be different. That is how a vegetation determines a climate. Similarly, a climate determines vegetation. In a cold climate, vegetation is different. In a warm climate, vegetation is different. Similarly, this soil and fauna, you see here, how they are interrelated. Okay, how they are interrelated. How a soil and animal is, or animal organism is interrelated, or fauna is interrelated. In the diagram which is in front of you, there is clearly two arrow mark. One is going from soil towards the fauna, and one from fauna it is coming towards the soil, which means there is a interrelation between soil and fauna. Now you tell me how it is possible. I have given you example regarding the interaction of vegetation and soil, vegetation and climate. Now you kindly imagine how a soil and fauna they are interrelated. Okay, let that be an assignment. Okay, clear? So this is how the interaction within an ecosystem takes place. Clear? These are some of the important medium or important component of how the ecosystem actually works. Clear? Now let us first see. Here we have seen the basic interaction of an ecosystem. Now let us go and see in detail some of the important characteristics of an ecosystem or ecology. First is the structure of ecosystem. Okay, structure of ecosystem. You see here, composition of living community, that is species and biomass, nature and distribution of non-living material, that is water and nutrient, range of gradient of climate condition, temperature, light, moisture, etc. They all determine, or they all compose together to form the structure of an ecosystem. So what is the structure of an ecosystem? The structure of an ecosystem is this one. The schematic representation of structure of an ecosystem is there in front of you in the screen. This is known as the structure of ecosystem. That is, under the structure of ecosystem, the structure of ecosystem is nothing but the composition of different elements in the ecosystem. Therefore, broadly in the ecosystem, and since I have already explained to you what is ecosystem, I am not explaining once again. It all came from the ecology. Okay, the application of general system theory in the study of, or general system in the study of ecology is nothing but the ecosystem. Now the structure of this ecosystem is broadly divided into two, that is biotic and abiotic component. Abiotic component can be known as a non-living, biotic component can be called as a living, or you can say the organic or inorganic also at the same time. Okay, just for the sake of understanding, you can put it that way also. Under this, first let us see the abiotic component first. Abiotic component means the climatic condition and the soil condition, so on and so forth. Other factors is also there. Okay, why we are dealing this abiotic component? Why? Because always remember the basic definition of ecology. Ecology is nothing but the interaction among organisms and at the same time interacting with the surrounding. When you are interacting with the surrounding, it is nothing but the abiotic component. Surrounding is the land, okay, the land area, that is the soil characteristics, the air or the atmosphere, that is nothing but the climatic conditions. Therefore, under the ecosystem structures, number one is abiotic component. Under this, I have climatic condition. Under this climatic condition, I will see what are the rainfall pattern like in this particular location. What is the sun's insolation, light conditions. Okay, because over the earth's surface, if you go from one region to the other, the rainfall varies, the light or the sun's insolation varies, the wind direction varies. Now, as far as our ecology, ecosystem is concerned, this wind is also important. Why? The pollination. Okay, wind blows seed from one region to the other, dispersal of the seed, dispersal of different plant community. Okay, like this. So wind is important, and also the temperature. Then comes the edaphic, that is the soil characteristics, the topography, the minerals. They all come under the structure of this abiotic component. Then comes the biotic component. Under the biotic component, under the ecosystem structure, relates to the living being, or you can say the organic component. They are the producers, the consumers, and the decomposers. Producer is also known as autotrophs, consumer is known as heterotrophs, decomposers is known as saprotrophs. Regarding this consumer, let us see, what is this producer? Producer is, example, the plants. Producer means organism that can produce its own food. So, if you see on the planet Earth, plant is one which can produce their own food by the process of photosynthesis with the help of sun's insolation. So, they are known as producers or autotrophs. Consumer, in a sense, which cannot produce their own food under the sun insolation, they rather consume the food that is produced by the autotrophs or the producers. They are known as consumers. Consumers or heterotrophs can be further divided into primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, and quaternary consumer. Example, herbivores can be an example of primary consumer. Herbivore, in a sense, that feeds on the green plants. They can be a primary consumer because they feed on the plants itself, the producers. Secondary consumer or primary carnivores, carnivorous, that feeds on plants and animal, or primary carnivore that feeds on animals. Okay, now tertiary consumers, or it can be a large carnivore. Finally, the quaternary consumer can be omnivore, that feeds on plants as well as, or green leaves, as well as the other smaller animals. I hope that is clear. This is the structure of an ecosystem. Clear? Let us see one by one the importance of this abiotic component. What is the importance of this abiotic component? Or what is this abiotic component? Important function that it performs is inorganic component. Example, carbon, calcium, magnesium, iron, taken up as nutrient, okay, die and decomposition. Organic components such as carbon base molecules, okay, play the critical role of linking the abiotic and biotic component. Example, organic component, lipids, proteins, chlorophyll, they play a very, very important role in connecting the abiotic component and biotic component. Do you realize the importance of this? It is how the interlinkages in the ecosystem is brought about. Why? Because ecology, ecosystem is interaction of organism among themselves and with the surroundings. The surrounding is nothing but the abiotic. Now, this organic component in the form of carbon-based molecules play this role of connecting this abiotic and biotic component. Protein, lipids, chlorophyll, all of this. The inorganic component which is there under abiotic component, okay, they are taken up as a nutrient. And another important component of this abiotic is the climatic condition itself. Clear? There is one important law, okay, important law which is known as laws of limiting factor. It is given by Liebig and Blackman. Now, what is the meaning of this? Laws of limiting factor. And this particular laws of limiting factor comes into picture when we are talking about this abiotic component. Okay, when we are discussing this abiotic component, means inorganic component like carbon, calcium, magnesium, so on and so forth. Organic component like protein, lipids, so on and so forth. Now, when we are discussing this, and also the climatic condition, all of these are the components of this abiotic component. Now, when we are discussing this, then comes the applicability or the relevance of this laws of limiting factor. Clear? In laws of limiting factor, you see different columns. You have this light, heat, that is the climatic condition. You have this potassium, nitrogen, these are the inorganic and organic components. Okay, so we'll end the session here today. We'll continue with these laws of limiting factor from tomorrow. Clear? Anyway, today we have made the base and started the analysis of or the study of this ecology or the ecosystem. We'll continue tomorrow with these laws of limiting factor. Clear? Anyways, thank you so much for your patience and cooperations. We will meet again tomorrow at the same time. Okay? Bye bye, take care, and